Hey, shout out, folks. It's Bob the Old Rucker, and thanks for listening to Shout Out from the Pit. Just a few admin notes before we launch into our show. First, thanks for the great feedback. It keeps Redbeard and I motivated, knowing we're doing something positive. Reminders, we're always looking for folks to share their experience, strength, and hope. If you've overcome something and have a toolbox that can provide others with hope to overcome their challenges, let us know. Check out shoutoutfromthepit.com and briefly share your story under our contact tab. Redbeard or I will reach out to you for a chat and talk about doing a show. Please remember to just give us your first name and what state or country you're from. And be sure to subscribe to shoutoutfromthepit.com and share it with a friend because, hey, it's for free and for fun. Okay, so here's what to expect from this show. Ted is a vet, a successful businessman, and a history with alcohol recovery with unique stories that entertain and educate. I hope you enjoy the show as much as Dwight Sloan and I enjoyed chatting with Ted. And now, on with the show. I think we're set. All right, so how's my hair? My hair okay?
Yeah, great.
All right, speaking of hair, you're a septuagenarian, if I'm saying that right. How is it that your hair is still, was it brown?
Yeah.
How?
I don't know. Now, if I let my beard grow out, it's gray.
Really?
Yeah, but I found two more up there the other day.
That is your natural color?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, so, and you're 6'5", so do you have your shoes tailor-made?
No.
What size boats do you wear?
12 and a half.
That's not
12. Something like that.
I mean, when he told me he was 6'5",
Yeah.
I was thinking you must have huge feet. Okay, well, whatever. All right, so let me get my notes out here.
Well, you know what they say about guys with big feet?
I do.
All right, here we
They
go.
got big shoes.
Hey, guys, never a dull moment, right? Okay. All right, shout out, folks. It's Bob the Old Rucker coming at you raw and uncensored. And as always, only God knows what's going to happen on this show. Welcome to Shout Out from the Pit, where the host sucks, but the guests are awesome. I'm the host, and Redbeard, the nerd in the basement, as he says, is my partner and producer. Our goal is to bring stories and topics designed to add to your toolbox as you trudge the road to happy destiny. All right, so joining us today are Tribe Brothers, Dwight and Sloan. Guys, give a shout out.
Hello.
And brother Ted. Ted, give a shout out.
Hey.
All right, so Ted is not new to the tribe, but he is to the show. And listen, guys, as always, I appreciate you taking the time out of your day to come and hang out with us. And Ted, of course, for sharing your experience, strength, and hope. That ought to be awesome. And as always, folks, you know that you're not alone. And Ted's got a great story. Hey, before we get started, did you know you might be an alcoholic if you drink more or for a longer time than originally intended? If you need more alcohol to achieve the same high, you might be an alcoholic if you experience withdrawal symptoms like the shakes, nausea, headaches, or even DTs when not drinking. You might be an alcoholic if you want to cut down on drinking, but you're not able to do so. You might be an alcoholic if you spend more time and resources to get or hide alcohol. And you might be an alcoholic if you isolate from work, social situations, or recreational activities. And finally, you might be an alcoholic if you continue to drink even after seeing that alcohol is creating a physical and emotional problem in your life.
All of the above.
Yeah?
I agree. Yes.
You know, people that are unfamiliar with a recovery journey, that are experiencing these things, they don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I didn't know when I didn't know. I mean, all of these things that we just read, they're just absolutely foreign until somebody shares their story. And I'm like, wait a minute.
That's me.
That's me.
Yeah, I could see all those things in my journey, that there was a partial part of all those things that you just read were things that I did.
Yeah. Any other thoughts?
Well, I just know that I had all those things, but I guess I felt like I was an alcoholic, but I was functioning.
What does that mean you were functioning?
I was able to go to work, bring home a paycheck.
Okay.
I mean, I was a terrible father and husband and everything else, but I was able to go to work and support the family. I thought that's what a man's job was, just to support the family.
Yeah.
But there's so much more to it.
What about, I just wanted to think of you as a banker. What was it like going to the bank every day as a functioning alcoholic?
Well, I actually went through a period when I first started at the bank that I went sober.
Oh.
I was able to last for about 2 months.
Oh, wow. That long.
Because I was using a lot of drugs and they drug tested. So I was scared to death that, I was going to get, because when I first got hired at the bank, I had a fiasco where I went in for a drug test with other pee and it wasn't the temperature that it was supposed to be. So I had to go back and retest, and I had to go buy some of this tea that you drink and try to get all that stuff out of my system. And by the grace of God, I still got that job. But, that faltered. My willpower would not hold out. So then I was just going and I was using still, and I was scared to death that I was going to get the axe. And by the grace of God, I never did. I ended up moving on from that job, but it wasn't because I got popped on a drug test, thank God. But yeah, it was.
Hey, man, riddle me this. Okay. So did you find somebody that you assumed had clean pee and you're like, hey, man, can you pee in a bottle for me? Did you give him a couple of bucks for it? Or what?
Mine's wife, and I actually taped I had her pee in an Elmer's glue bottle with a little twist cap, and I duct taped that inside of my underwear. And so I went in for the drug test, and I opened the little cap and, peed in the thing, and even squirted the rest of it in the toilet. She was outside listening. Yeah, oh yeah. And I said, all right, here you go. And she said, all right, thank you very much. And then she went, whoa, we got a problem.
It was white.
What problem? No, they have a temperature sensor on the side of the cup that you're supposed to pee in. And of course, it's going to come out at 98.6 degrees or somewhere there. And mine was not.
Yours was room temperature, like a zombie.
So, yeah, and I even tried to be funny and tell her that I had CPS, cold pee syndrome. And she said, no, this is not going to fly.
So she knew that you were.
Obvious. It was obvious to everyone.
Doesn't she report that?
Yeah.
How'd that go?
Well, my dad was a higher up at the bank. So, yeah. I said, Dad, they wanted me to pee. Now I've peed. Now they want me to stay here for several more hours. And he said, oh, just go pee tomorrow. And I said, all right, I'll, be sure and tell the lady that's supervising this drug test that I'm just going to come back tomorrow. And so I got by on this just by the grace of God that I even got that job.
Wow.
And there was several people in the bank, the human resources people knew that I had pulled the wool over them. And so I was not very well liked in the human resources department when I got that job.
So right?
Right.
Hey, so Dwight, functional alcoholic, you have any examples of that? Because you were already retired.
Yes, I didn't start drinking until I retired.
And you were, putting whiskey in your Cheerios?
Vodka.
So disgusting.
Get up in the morning and put vodka in your Cheerios. Well, yeah, man, you got to start the day right.
God bless. Oh, it's just
Dwight,
so
that
good.
wasn't you're not joking about that, huh? That's serious.
Sort of.
Okay.
I'm sort of joking about it.
So what was being a functional alcoholic, even in your retirement? What did that look like? I mean, did you go to any particular events? You were in classic cars and racings.
Yeah.
So did you do that functional? Were you drinking and still doing it?
Oh, yeah, I was drinking. I had to. Well, once I crossed the line into alcoholism, if my eyes were open, I was drinking. I'd get up in the morning. I'd drink half a pint just to get my eyes open.
Wow.
That's when I knew that I had a problem. When I thought, man, I'm drinking half this bottle, and I'm not. I don't feel good. It always made me sick. My body never did like alcohol. It gave me headaches, I had diarrhea, throw up. I mean, my body never did like it.
But you still pushed through it.
Well, yeah.
You're a perseverer. You're tenacious.
Yes.
Boy, my body loved it.
I was it's called addiction. I was addicted to the chemical.
Right. So Ted, what's your life like today before we go back to how you got here?
It's very good.
Yeah,
very good. I got my own little business that I operate out of my home. My physical problems are being taken care of. And I'm very happy. I got a great marriage. We've been together for a while, and it just seems the bond just keeps getting stronger.
Good. And you've got by the way, folks, we're at Ted's house with the mobile equipment. So I'm praying this comes through okay. And you've got a great dog. You want to tell us about it? He's a drummer in a band, right? He's got the name. What's his name?
Nigel.
That dog is so cool. He's got the hair over his eyes.
He was a rescue dog.
Yeah.
And his owner had given him up.
Yeah.
Because he just couldn't take care of him anymore.
Gosh, he doesn't seem very hard to take care of. He's right here.
I know.
He's like, hey, guys, what's up?
I know he must have been a service dog because I have to use a walker. And he always is right there by my side if I'm walking.
Interesting. Okay. Well, anyway, life seems to be good for you today. We met, oh my gosh. It seemed like many years ago now, but I met you and your wife at the same time. And I just remember your contributions were spot on, great. And over the years, of course, it is what it is now. You know, we've been hanging out together for a few years now, you as part of the tribe. So, I would say on the outside looking in, it looks pretty bright in Ted's house. What was it like growing up?
Oh, I had a wonderful childhood. Leave It to Beaver or Ozzie and Harriet. That was my kind of growing up. It was my folks were never divorced, always together, and I was adopted. And it couldn't have been better. They were always there for me. I still miss them.
Was your dad tall?
Yes.
Okay, so
not as tall as I am, but he was 6'2".
What? Wow. How old were you when you passed him up in size?
15.
15.
Wow.
Good night.
Man, I was growing so fast I had trouble chewing gum and walking at the same time.
Has that changed?
Oh, yeah.
Sorry, I did throw that in. What kind of hobbies were you into as a kid?
Basketball, sports.
No surprise there.
Mainly. As far as hobbies went, I don't think I had time for any. I mean, it was always a basketball game or a football game or something.
Okay. So you were a sports player?
Sandlot.
Okay.
But never organized sports, no.
Okay. And your work ethic, I mean, how old were you when that kicked in? Because you've always been a worker.
Yes. I went to work for my dad when I was probably 14, 15.
Were you legally able to work for your dad at that point?
He got special permission. I guess we ought to explain.
Yeah, I can't wait to share this. Go ahead.
My dad owned 3 liquor stores.
That's a tough business.
And he put me to work, sweeping the floors or stocking or something. I couldn't sell anything, but I could do pretty much everything else. He got special permission from the ABC, Arkansas Beverage Control.
So when did you start drinking?
When I went in the National Guard.
Really?
Yeah.
So you were 14 working for your dad and you weren't tapping into the profits?
No, I was not.
How old were you when you joined the Guard?
18.
You're 18. And then, you joined the Guard, but what did that, how did you get introduced to alcohol from that?
Everybody drank there. And I started drinking just to fit in. And I'm telling you, one interesting story was that when I was working with my dad. I was 15 or 16. And this wino came in and leaned over the counter to get his wine. While he was there, he peed on the floor. And my dad said, go get a mopping bucket so we can clean this up. I said, okay. And so when he was doing that, he said, you know, that guy was a kid like you once. What do you think his goal in life was? Do you think it was to be in this kind of shape? I said, well, no. He said, just remember, alcohol is like playing Russian roulette. You may get a loaded chamber and you may not.
So that deterred you from the desire to drink?
No, it did not.
Well, how old were you when he told you that story?
I was 14 or 15. It just wasn't, I didn't drink at that time because the people I ran with didn't drink.
No.
And I was a golfer. We were on the golf course all the time, and it didn't fit into my life.
Oh, I tell you what, if you'd have ran with me at that age and I knew you had a liquor store, I would have introduced you quite young and some other things. All right, so you joined the Guard. What year was that?
1970.
70. Good night. Wow. And so, that's Vietnam era.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes, it was.
Wow.
And that's the reason I joined the National Guard. I didn't want to get drafted.
Okay. So you drank, you were in the Guard, you worked for your dad.
Yep.
Tell us about some of the stories, working for your dad. I mean, some of your, we've heard them, but you got to share them on the show. I mean, just the knock, 1 knock, 2 knock, 3 knock.
Yep. I must establish this first. I worked for my dad time I was 14 till we sold the business. I was in my 50s. So I was with him all that time. Now, when I was drinking, I got a divorce. I needed an apartment somewhere, and we had this 3-bedroom apartment over one of the liquor stores. I remodeled it and moved up there. And I had so much company, you would not believe how many, because in this area of town, they had more alcoholics per square foot than anywhere. And they would all converge at my house. I had a keg box. I had all the whiskey, everything else, because I could just go down there and sign my name and bring up whatever whiskey I wanted. You know, he would charge it off to advertising. So we're sitting up there, and I finally, the guy downstairs, my drinking table, everybody got a drinking table, and you're sitting there, and it was right above the counter where the guy was the cash register, right up above. And so when we got over there and we'd run out of something, I'd stomp my foot on the floor, and they knew what to bring up. I stomped once, and they brought a half gallon of Beefeater up there. Stopped twice, and they bring a half gallon of Jim Beam. That was my buddy's drink. 3 times, and they bring up my cigarettes. I stomped my foot 4 times, and everything came up there. And I just sit there and
So you got the cashier downstairs doing his job, checking people in and out, whatever. And then, so here's a stomp, brings up your beef eaters. Here's 2, okay. And then when he hears the kaboom, he knows, well, the night's out. What's that? 1 tequila, 2 tequila, 3 tequila, floor.
Except he was off work long before I hit the floor.
And, I'm just curious, did anybody ever say anything to you like this is probably not something that you, I don't know.
They thought it was cool. I mean, all of them did. They,
who is they?
The people I worked with, everybody except my dad. Now, there's one time he contracted me and the guy that drank the Jim Beam to put these little strips on the shelves where we could put the inventory tickets on. Okay. And I was in there one Sunday getting together booze and stuff to carry upstairs. And I looked down there. I said, that car looks familiar. It's coming down Broadway. And I said, that's my dad. We got to get to hell. We got to do something. He's fixing to pull in here. And so he went back there and got some little strips. And we both got up there like we're putting them up. And he come in there and said, oh, y'all working? I said, yeah. And he said, well, I don't understand why your van's running while you're in here working and your drink's in the cup holder. You don't even have your drink with you. And he set his butt down on a box and watched us work for an hour and a half.
Wow. Okay. So he was on to you.
Oh, yeah. He knew.
Did you turn your van off?
He was a very heavy drinker in his youth.
Oh, your dad was?
Yes.
So this incident you just shared with us, what, were you like 50 when it happened?
No.
Dad's here.
I was my early 30s, but that was my income, was that job. So,
well, do you have any hold my beer moments where there was a life lesson or maybe an indicator like something's off?
Not really. It just seems like when I got to my late 30s, I knew something had to change. Because what happened was I was trying to get ready for work, and you know the drill. You got the dry heaves because you got drunk the night before, and everything's messed up. And I was just, and the wife at the time is yelling at me, said, how could you do this to me? I said, what the hell did I do to you? I'm the one that got drunk, and I've got to get to work. And I looked in the mirror, and I just knew at that moment, I said, you're always going to be this way. There's no way out for you. You have tried to stop. You have tried to moderate. You have tried all these things and nothing has worked. You have no chance. And that's when I said, God, if you're up there, I need help. I cannot do this alone. And all of a sudden, my mind got clear. The shaking stopped. I wasn't sick. And I knew that something had hurt me. And, well, then it all came back again. But, I mean, for that moment in time, I saw things the way they really were. And that's when I contacted Alcoholics Anonymous.
Had you heard of Alcoholics Anonymous prior? I mean, like you said.
I'd heard them, in movies and stuff, but I'd never had any association with them at all.
All right, so I've got a couple of questions. So one, you said you had a moment of clarity when you made, like we call foxhole prayers, right?
Yeah.
But you said it all came back again. Is that because you hadn't quit drinking then and you went back to East?
No. What I meant is all the nausea and the...
Oh, it just subsided long enough for you to be on the outside looking in.
That's right.
And you saw the Ted that you were and you didn't like it. And so then you reached out. Okay. Yes. How did you find out about Alcoholics Anonymous? Like phone book? Because you didn't have internet in those days.
No, I didn't. Phone book. Looked it up in the phone book.
Okay.
I'd heard of it.
Okay. Hey, for a listening audience at Gen Z, a phone book is a book that used to have phone numbers in it, and you could go there and find. Now you just go to the internet and find a number, right?
You got to explain a phone book.
Isn't that crazy? You got to explain it. Let me tell you what a party line is. Do you remember those?
Oh, I had one.
You had a party line? Yes, so did we.
I used to listen to the neighbors when I was a kid over there.
How long they put up with that? Did you guys have party lines?
I did not.
No.
So a party line, cell phones, of course, weren't even thought of then, mobile phones or whatever. Everybody had a landline. They were connected to wires in your house. If you had your own line to your house, you were fortunate, but some of us had to share a line with somebody. So if the phone rang and you answered it, it may not be for your house. It may be for another house. And They called it a party line. Whereas today you think of the word party and you think along the lines of this podcast, alcohol and drugs or whatever. But in those days, a party line it just simply meant you shared a line.
Multi-party.
Yeah. Party is in persons. Cool. All right, so you called Alcoholics Anonymous. Before you actually get into that, what was going on with the wife at the time? How was, the family? What was, you'd mentioned you were involved in sandlot sports, right? Golf, basketball, and all that stuff. So where were you in all your activities at that time?
Oh, my only activity was drinking.
So you, as we started off the show with, you might be an alcoholic if you isolate. You were an isolator.
Yes.
What was the relationship like with the wife? Did she drink as much as you did?
No. And in fact, there's another story. When I was dating her, I found out that I wouldn't drink when I'd go out with her because I didn't want her to know, And I thought, the more we dated, the more I kind of got the mindset, this is your ticket out of this life. If you'll just marry her, you'll stay sober. And that lasted for about a month.
The marriage?
I don't know until I started drinking again.
Okay.
And it just, I knew after 2 or 3 weeks after I'd got married that I'd made a mistake. I did not need to be with her. But there was nothing I could do about it. I was already married.
When you say you need not be with her is because, I'm curious, is it, and of course you'll correct me, is it because she didn't drink like you or she had thoughts about your drinking?
No. The main problem is we just didn't mesh in the bedroom.
Well, then we'll leave that one alone. Move on. That's an honest answer, and we'll move right along. All right, so you called Alcoholics Anonymous, and are you single at that time or soon to be?
Married.
You're married. How much longer were you married after you called Alcoholics Anonymous? I'm just curious. Because you've been married, what?
3 times.
3 times, all right. Was that number 2?
I was number 2, and we were married for 20 years.
Holy cow.
I just adapted.
Okay.
And she just came in. Poor old Nigel was whining about something.
Oh, okay.
But no, she came in and just said she wanted a divorce.
Okay.
Well, that's a good story too.
Well, let's. We can always go backwards. So spit it out, spitball, top of the dome. What it look like?
Okay, I'm sitting in that other room over there. I don't know what he's got.
Yeah, but he's coming across on the mic pretty close. Hey, Nigel. Did I whistle on the show? That's going to be loud. Sorry, guest. Sorry. All right.
Do you see something out there? Oh.
All right. Raw and uncensored.
Take a short break.
Okay, good.
Okay, so you were sitting in the living room.
Doing some work for the store.
Okay.
I did a lot of work at home, too. And the doorbell rang.
Okay.
So I got up and answered the door. And he said, guy serving me divorce papers. I had no clue. I had no idea.
Your wife's in the house?
Yeah, she's in there cooking dinner. And so anyway, I take it and trying to wrap my head around it. And she said, dinner's ready. So I go in there. And we sat down. And she said, who was that at the door? I said, they served me divorce papers. She said, well, I wondered when they was going to get here. Can you pass the peas? All that was ever discussed over a 20-year marriage.
Wow. Okay. And so, but you were sober during this time.
Oh, yeah, I was sober then.
Okay, so let's go back to starting your journey. You obviously have found your life objectionable. You got in, and what did that look like? Starting with the a phone call to what, central office? Is that how that worked?
Yes.
Number? Okay.
Yes.
So what did it look like from there? Take us down that alley.
Well, I ended up going to a meeting in Rose City. I don't even think it's there anymore, but I remember walking in there I had no idea what was going to go on. And I listened to a couple of meetings, and then I went back to drinking. And this friend of mine I used to drink with, now this guy, he would fight anybody at the drop of a hat. And he called me and says, "You've been to AA, hadn't you?" I said, "Yeah." He said, "Will you be my sponsor?" I said, "Mike, I'm about to fall off this chair drunk right now." I said, "I can't be your sponsor." And he said, "Well, will you go to a meeting with me? I'm just afraid to go alone." I said, "Well, yeah, I can do that." And you can't believe, I just couldn't believe these words were coming out of this guy's mouth, because he'd get me into fights that I didn't want to be in. You know, he'd go over, we were playing pool, and I was a big bar drinker, and we were playing pool in some joint. And anyways, it was my time up, and when I got up there, these guys were cowering in fear. And I said, "What in the world's going on?" And I said, "What'd you tell these guys, Mike?" I said, "I told them that I could hurt them real bad, but you'd kill them."
Did you have that kind of face? I mean, you're 6'5". Did you look like
it? Looks like I do now.
Well, he looks like a sweetheart now. Doesn't he look like a sweetheart?
He does.
You just want to reach out and squeeze your cheeks there. Yeah, you're a cute little fella.
He was, but it was.
So you guys are in AA together.
Well, we went on a Thursday night, and it was a speaker meeting.
Okay.
And the guy spoke. I couldn't tell you what he said, but something he said grabbed me. And I said, I want to give this one more try. And I got sober. But the guy that got me there, he got drunk, had a head-on collision, killed himself, a woman, and her 2 children.
Oh, my.
Oh, wow.
But that's what got me here.
Yeah. Wow. Well, that's rough. All right. So do you remember what year that was?
Yeah. Because I got sober in 1989.
89. Okay.
So it was the late 80s.
Okay. So now, what does recovery look like? Tell me some of the tools that you got at that time that helped you with your growth.
Well, I got a good sponsor, and he was very patient with me. And in fact, I would go over to his house and follow him around like a little puppy and ask him.
Hold on a sec, Ted. I know this is coming across, and like I said, we don't edit the show. What you're hearing in the background is Nigel drinking like it's going to be his last drink before he goes through the Sahara. I can't believe how loud he is. Oh, he's done.
Okay.
All right. Now, Ted, please continue.
Where were we?
I have no idea. Look at it. Nigel's looking at us with that rock star face.
Yeah.
Like, oh, what?
Oh, the tools.
Okay.
I followed this sponsor around and asked him thousands of questions. He must have got so sick of me because I said, "When did you first know you were an alcoholic?" I was curious. I didn't know, because I knew I had drank way past my time. And but anyway, I was so curious about it. And, how could you be? He was sober 13 years at that point. I said, "How can you stay sober for 13 years? I can't go 13 days, And something about it. And at first, I stayed off the booze just to please him. That was my goal, to please him. I don't want him to go away. Mm. And I always tell this in my story. I love it. I had slipped, right after my fifth step. I went by the liquor store, got a bottle, and slept. And I was telling him about all that, and I was invited. I got right back in the program. I mean, it was a one-night thing. And so I got right back in the program, and he invited me over to his house for something. And I got over there, and his wife was a real Mary Pearl. She was a big-time Al-Anon speaker.
Oh.
And so she started berating me. She said, you're never going to get sober. Why are you even trying? You might as well just go do it and live it. You're nothing but white trash.
What?
Yes. I mean, everything under the book.
Nice words of encouragement. So she's telling you to go drink.
Yeah. She said, I bet you, this was August. And she said, I bet you $20 you couldn't stay sober to Christmas. Man, I sat on my hands. I did everything not to drink. And finally, Christmas Day, you think I'm at home opening presents with my children? No, I'm over there banging on that door. And I said, I want my $20. I earned it. And she said, yeah, you did. And gave me 2,000 pennies in a Crown Royal bag.
Mm-hmm. Did she think that you really couldn't make it, or was that her,
that was her
reverse psychology?
She said, I knew if you could just break the cycle, you would be okay. Because it was just every so often I would just have to fall off.
Yeah, we know guys like that, actually.
Yeah, and it may have just been exactly the thing you needed to hear, Ted.
Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, it didn't seem like at the time. I'm sure it was not a welcome comment, but if you have to do it out of, I don't want to say spite, but, contempt for, you say I can't, well, by golly,
I can.
Yeah. So, yeah,
I
for whatever reason.
With a big part of me getting sober.
Yeah.
Big part.
All right. So like you said, she wanted you to just break the cycle. You had said that you were staying sober for your sponsor, her husband.
Yeah.
When did you start doing this for yourself?
Shortly after that. I said, I'd been sober for several months, and I said, I want this life. I do not want my old life. I want this life. I see a future in this life. There's no future in the other life.
Okay, so can you? You've shared some tragedies. I don't know if you want to go on the air with them here, but some of the hiccups or tragedies that you experienced while you were sober that would have sent most people over the cliff, but you handled them differently. You want to talk about any of those?
When I was sober, my youngest son committed suicide. And, with all the grief and everything I went through, I never thought about alcohol. It just never entered my mind. And I figure that was grace from God. It had to be. Because I wanted relief at any cost at that time.
Yeah.
But alcohol didn't cross my mind.
That is pretty amazing. And I only say that because I have heard of people going through tragedies like you just shared that did the same thing. They didn't drink. But then there's those of us that experienced some hiccups and they tripped us up. And by the grace of God, we came back. But kudos on that. What are some of the successes that you've been able to experience in your recovery, in your journey?
Successes? What do you mean by that?
Good things. The promises, as we talk about, like we talked about last night.
Even through the divorce, I was going to have to sell this house and divide the equity with her. Well, my dad stepped up and said, I'll cover the equity so you can keep the house. And that was everything to me because I had my little business back here. I couldn't run that out of an apartment. There wouldn't be enough room. And my dad and my mom were always there. You know, they would help pick me up. And I remember I'm still working at the liquor store. I'm working there and I'm sober. And I remember my sponsor came down one Christmas Eve and invited him back to the office to meet my mom and dad. And I remember my dad, he said, I want to shake your hand. You gave my son back to me. I'll never forget that.
Wow.
And it was just, the success was the reuniting with my loved ones and being present. You know, I was always there, but I wasn't present. They didn't fit into my lifestyle. I didn't fit into theirs. And I kept a arm's length from them. And I was able now to, I was able now to love again.
Oh.
Now, you know, when you drink like that, you cut off all your emotions. You don't have any anymore. You just don't. Yeah. And then they all started flooding back, all these emotions, all these feelings. I think, you know, that was one reason I kept going back to alcohol, because I wasn't used to those feelings, didn't want them.
And you guys correct me on this, one of the promises, we will comprehend the word serenity and know peace.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Is that along the lines of what you're...
Peace and love go together.
Yeah.
When you're able to love again, you've got a serenity about you that passeth all understanding. Is that the way they put it?
I'm going to hit you up on faith. Let's go then. What kind of faith did you have? And maybe share with us what your faith is like now. So what's faith like pre-recovery?
I don't have any. I had my grandmother. I was very close to her when I was a child. And she was deeply religious. I mean, when I say religious, she was spiritual. She was in the Word all the time, taught me to go in the Word, that kind of thing. And then she got sick and had to be put in a nursing home, and poor circulation. They chopped off one leg, then they chopped off another leg. And she just wants to die. She's in that thing. And finally she did die. And I said, you know, God, if this is how you treat your devoted, I don't want any part of you. So you stay over there, I'll stay here. And that's the way it was. In fact, it went that way even after I sobered up. I didn't want to have anything to do with any kind of God. And I had been sober for a decade before I even entered into any kind of relationship with him. And why I could sober up without that, I don't know. I think that's God's grace too.
Right. So tell us, we in recovery, we talk about higher power, faith, and any of my guests are allowed to free flow, and talk about their faith. So tell me, what is your relationship like in your department of faith, your higher power? I mean, you can be as detailed as you want or as vague as you want. Tell us about your faith today.
I'm a Christian. I believe in Jesus Christ as my Savior. Took a long road to get here, but I'm here now. Okay. And in fact, as you know, we have a Bible study every Tuesday. And I'm just happy. I'm just happy. I feel happy. I feel fulfilled. I've been searching for that all my life, and I finally found it.
That's great. I'm going to switch gears with you again, and let me step back from the mic for a sec. Guys, Sloan, Dwight, any thoughts, anything you want to jump in? All right, so we're going to take a small break, and we'll come back.
Well, hello, and welcome back to
Shout Out from the Pit. All right. So where we left off, I think we were moving into, I wanted to ask you about, we talk about character defects, 7 deadly sins, whatever you want to call them. And there's tons of things that are roadblocks and challenges for us while we're in recovery. Do you have a particular character defect that you wouldn't mind sharing with us and telling us how you deal with it?
Well, in every marriage I've had, it gets to a certain point, and I just couldn't help myself on other women. Now, I didn't act on that, but it was the fight that went on inside me. Don't do this.
Are you talking about pornography, lust, both?
Not pornography. Actual women.
Of infidelity, adultery?
Yes, infidelity.
Okay, I get it. All right, well, unfortunately, a lot of us can identify with that. So this was a challenge you had in your marriage, and so then how did you deal with it?
Well, in my first marriage, there was infidelity many times. Mm-hmm. And that's what led mainly to the divorce. Yeah. Now, when I got married the second time, this destroyed me mentally. There was so much guilt, and it was horrible. And so in my second marriage, when I had the opportunity to do that, I refused. I said, no, because I do not want to feel that guilt again. And
we're talking about guilt of what you've done to an innocent victim, a.k.a. the wife.
Yes.
Yeah, that's good.
And so I said no.
Okay.
And I remember I was at a convention, and I got talking with this woman, and she wanted me to see some radio stuff. She said, why don't you come up to my room? And I said, now, me and you both know what's going to happen if I go up to your room. And you're married, and I'm married, and I, for one, can't handle the guilt.
Wow. That's very straightforward. Kudos.
Yep, that was it. And we remained friends after that.
It's interesting that that was the character defect that you went with, because it ranks right up there with alcoholism and drug abuse, other illicits. And we handle that in very similar ways, call somebody, break the chain, be honest, like you were, forthright. So yeah, kudos. And so I imagine that's carried a lot of power into your current marriage.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Of course, we all know your wife. She's a fantastic lady. So, and she also doesn't strike me as somebody that would put up with it, but she would definitely be by your side as an understanding person.
No, she'd be gone challenges. Like the
wind. Okay. All right. So now you mentioned that you're in the radio type of business. Now, I don't know, I'm saying this out loud, but we can stop anytime. Do you want to do a shameless plug for that, or do you just want to let it go and stay the route we're on?
How about a half shameless plug?
All right. So what's that look like?
I deal with historical recordings.
Okay.
And anybody that wants those can come to me.
All right. I can make that.
Small fee, and I'll provide it.
All right. So we here at the Table of the Tribe, we know what Ted does. So he's got unbelievable collections of radio shows going back before before TV was even popular, right?
Before it came to the public.
Wow.
These go back to the 20s.
That's amazing. I mean, he has his own Library of Congress. Not Library of Congress. What's the? Forgive me because I'm drawing a blank. Where you have your books and what have you, get an ISBN number and they log it.
The archives.
Archives. Okay. So he's got his own archives here. It's pretty amazing. So if there's a particular radio show or something you were looking for, you reach out to shoutoutfromthepit.com and say, hey, I listen to Ted's show and a creative the stuff that he's got there, and I will put you in touch. How about we do that?
All right. I'll say that I have over 325,000 programs in my collection.
Wow.
Awesome.
I remember you dropped off on me. I was goofing around doing a terrible imitation of Wolfman Jack. And next thing you know, you handed me a copy of his show. And I was like, oh, gosh, he sounds a lot like me. And you're like, that's Wolfman Jack, dude. So anyway, he sounds better as Wolfman Jack than I do, just so you know. All right. So there's one other area that I'd like to talk to you about, and that's making amends. Did you have challenges with particular people because of your sordid past, because of drinking, that you were able to use the program and help build a bridge to having a healthier relationship with those folks?
After I did my fifth step with my sponsor, he told me, he said, really the only amends I think you owe is to your father. And so I went to make the amends. And he just said, son, being what you are now is more than makes up for everything you did. He said, I'm so proud of you, and I am just so happy.
So you were sober when your dad passed?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
I was sober when my mom passed. I was sober when my dad passed.
Oh,
in fact, I was lucky enough to be by their bedside when they did. And I was holding my mother's hand. She had waited. She was in the Tobin Center because she just couldn't live at home anymore. She was going to hurt herself. So she was there. And they called me like at 5 in the morning and said, I know you usually come in the afternoon, but you might want to come this morning. Your mother's been running a fever all night. I said, okay. So I got there got my dad ready, and we got there about 7:30 that morning. And I was holding her hand, and my dad was holding her hand, and I reached over and kissed her on the cheek, and she smiled and passed.
Oh, wow.
Just as, it told me that death is not a bad thing. It's just transition.
Yeah.
She went to sleep. That's where it was. I was also there when my dad passed, at his bedside.
Wow.
Because I was taking care of him at that time.
That's it. So, Ted, what are, maybe just a couple of favorite memories you have in your recovery journey?
Oh.
Things that you would not have experienced if you had never been introduced to sobriety.
Well, as you know, I was working at the liquor store. And this one guy called me. He was a counselor, a drug and alcohol counselor. And me and him used to drink together. And he called me up and said, man, I need some extra money. Can you give me a part-time job? I said, man, you know what I do. And he said, I'll be all right. I got all these tools. I said, okay. And so I put him to work. He wasn't the greatest worker, but I put him to work. And I got a call around Christmas time from him and said, Ted, I'm drinking again, and I can't stay away from it. I said, well, I don't think you really need to be working where you're working, do you? He said, no, I want to go back to the treatment center and get myself right again. I said, well, then go with God. I'm happy for you to leave. And, this wasn't the best time because Christmas is the busiest time for me. But we made it. And I think it was happy for me because I was able to help somebody at a certain time. Now, because he fell off the wagon, that has nothing to do with me.
No.
And but he reached out to me for help, and I helped him. Yeah. Things like that. And there's been a couple of people when I only had everybody I sponsored got drunk. Everybody. I'm got to be the worst sponsor in the world. And but one stayed the course for a while anyway. I don't know. I don't want to mention his name, sure. But we worked together for, a couple of years, and he was doing so well. And then one day he said, I just don't want to go to meetings anymore. I said, well, it's your life. Do what you feel led to do. Yeah. And didn't see him for years, and he popped up recently.
Well, that's one of the reasons that we always talk about immersion. Mm-hmm. Those of us in the tribe, some of the guys have, tripped, fallen, and we're there for them to come back in. We're not going to shut the door on them. Right. But we all realize, and even those guys have had their epiphany. Some of them have stayed sober for a pretty long time now. Mm-hmm. But we know, since we have taken that first step, that our lives were unmanageable and that we were powerless. We can't ever forget that first step because, the literature tells us that alcohol is cunning, baffling, powerful. If we think we can outsmart an AI chess game, we're doomed. And this disease, and that has been recognized by the AMA as a disease, it's been around a lot longer than we have. It's a lot more insidious than we'll ever understand. So if we're going to throw in the towel, we might as well just throw in the towel all the way, man. Just jump off the ship, get in the truck, go to the liquor store. There's no thinking about it. If we quit working this program, we will find ourselves back in the bottle.
Well, I've got to say that after 19 years of sobriety, I drank again. Mm. And what happened was I was going to, 4 or 5 meetings a week. I started backing off to 3, into 2, 1, then not any, maybe 1 every couple of weeks. Finally, I got to where I was just going 1 meeting a year to get my yearly coin.
I know another guy that does that.
That was it. And then at one time, somebody stuck a beer in front of me and I drank it.
Yep.
And I've been back now since 2008.
Your math and I don't always get along. How many years you got right now?
17 years.
17. So you're coming back up on 19.
Yep.
All right. Kudos. Hey, but that's what it takes. We get weak.
Yes.
And it's just like athletic guys or even soldiers. If we get away from our skill sets, and our skill sets are staying sober.
Yes.
If we start getting away from our skill sets, we get rusty and pretty soon we get defeated.
That's right.
So like soldiers, athletes, we have to stay in tune with our tools. Yeah. Good point. All right. So speaking of tools, Ted, what are, I don't know, you can hit us up with a few or whatever's on your mind. What would you say are your best tools to maintain your sobriety?
Meetings, association with the tribe, being involved, and my faith in God. That and just knowing that sobriety is the number one thing in my life. Nothing goes above that except God. And And, my marriage is second. Everything is secondary to sobriety.
Good.
And I know that SLIP stands for sobriety lost its priority.
That's right. It's funny you said that because that's a great segue, and you might have already answered it unless you have another one. Which cliches or quotes in recovery come to your mind that help you with recovery?
You mean quotes from the big book?
Anything. What's a recovery journey quote that you lean on?
Just to keep it number one in my life. Never.
That was not Nigel.
That was not Nigel.
That was his cat.
No, to keep sobriety number one.
Okay.
And always have that as focus. Now, the longer you're sober, the less you're drawn to want to drink. I mean, you just don't. I mean, it just doesn't cross my mind.
Okay.
And going to meetings and the fellowship, I don't have any friends that aren't in the program. I just don't.
Okay. All right, so we're moving into closing, and at this time, Ted, just imagine we've got folks out there listening to the show that are on their recovery journey or trying to start their recovery journey. What would you say to those folks?
I wish you desperation, because you have to be desperate to grab onto this thing.
Wow.
And you can be desperate. They used to tell me, he said, I don't know how you could hit a bottom with having all those liquor stores. How can you hit a bottom? And my answer was, you can hit bottom with a full wallet, just like you can with an empty one.
That's good.
I didn't have financial problems then, but that didn't enter into it. I was miserable. I was flat out miserable. So I wish you misery. That the only way out is a change in your life. That's what did it for me.
Yeah, the gift of desperation.
Yes.
Right? All right, so we're in free flow time. Table group here. Any thoughts, things you want to share as we close out? Anything that crossed your mind while Ted shared, guys? Hit it.
Thought it was a great story, Ted. You're an inspiration to me, as in all the guys at the tribe are, and just happy to be here.
What I heard you say, Ted, you were looking for something your whole life. I think that's called spiritual malady. When you finally found God, you found solid ground to stand on then.
Yes, that's correct.
Yeah, Ted, thanks for sharing your experience, strength, and hope. I've known you for a lot of years, and I've been wanting to do the show with you for a while, so I'm glad you were able to cut some time out of your day to do this with us. And as always, Sloan and Dwight, thanks, for joining us. We're going to be doing your guys' show here in the very near future, so that'd be awesome to capture that. All right, so audience, what say you on today's show? Leave your thoughts and comments on shoutoutfromthepit.com. This is it. This is the end of the show. Thanks for listening in, and please share our show with folks that could use some encouragement and extra tools for their recovery journey. The buck bucket is up. Hit the donation link on shoutoutfromthepit.com and help us update our equipment and grow the show. And be sure to subscribe at shoutoutfromthepit.com for future episodes. It's for free and for fun. Remember, you are not alone. And if no one's told you they love you today, we love you. I'm Bob the Old Rucker, praying you're having an outstanding American day. God bless and peace out.